how financial services are delivered. David Wald is a financial advisor with Lux Wealth Advisors, and he joins me now. Good morning to you, David.
Good morning.
All right. Now, I'm learning as we go here because this is a word I wasn't all that familiar with, so I had to look it up. Tell me about fintech and what that's all about.
Well, financial technology, it's, really when you look at it, it's a lot of what you're hearing today is AI,
Yeah.
artificial intelligence, and it's really taken every aspect of this world by storm, whether it's the financial industry, whether it's production, online dating. I mean, it has really gone beyond really what I think we thought it was going to be into things even such as healthcare. So that's kind of the new oil, if you will, in the technology world.
Okay, because it's so new and because there are so many questions that I guess we don't have answers to, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think it can be a really good thing. I think it can produce some really good information, especially when it comes to relaying information to the general public. So taking a complex procedure like a medical procedure and breaking it down for the general public, I think it's really good. Um, when you start getting into generated videos of people saying things like, for instance, politicians, they're saying, well, the politician said this, and it's an AI generated video, and you have to mark it as satire or not true so that people actually know it's not, because it looks, it feels, it sounds 100% authentic.
But that probably won't always happen. It probably won't always be marked as satire. And so a lot of false information can be out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of false information. We've seen a lot of false information in our industry from, anywhere from TikTok financial to now these AI generated videos on YouTube channels and things like that. So you've really got to be careful where you're getting your information, because at the end of the day, you can start getting information, whether it's medical, it's financial, but you can get information and it could be 100% false.
Yeah, yeah. All right, now it's coming, whether we like it or not. How does it help you as a financial advisor? What are some avenues that you can take that it can be a benefit to you to help your clients?
Well, really, I really think it helps a lot is producing good content that we can get out to people that's in simple terms, but well written and well produced so that people can relate to it. I think a lot of times in my industry, coming to your financial advisor sometimes is like going to the dentist, where people don't want to do it. They don't, because they don't understand it. They don't want to act like they don't understand it. They don't want to feel like they're dumb when they come to their financial person. What I've seen is it really helps relate to the layperson and put good information out there if it's used properly.
Right. It's funny that you say that about the dentist. I think about three of us in the newsroom this morning that were talking all had dental appointments this week, and none of us were going yippee, about that whole thing. All right. Now, there are so many variables like inflation, the rate of economic growth, and other things that affect our investments. How do people go about navigating those situations?
Well, it's interesting. We saw the inflation report come out this morning, and it was 0.1% higher. It came in at 3.4% year over year higher inflation and 0.3% month over month higher inflation. They're expecting 0.2% higher inflation month over month. Even little moves like that have such an impact on the markets, not only the stock market, but also the fixed income market or bond market. So really making sure you're paying attention to those economic indicators that are so important right now, because inflation right now is number one.
We're now into 2024. It's an election year, and we're going to hear a lot about inflation, both that it's starting to come down from one side, that it's killing American families on the other side. How do you see it? And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but are we close to the peak of inflation and we're going to be, heading down into more normalcy, or do you see that we're still in for a struggle here for a while?
Well, I think we're looking at two different things. What we're looking at is inflation is coming down. It is, it's went from, over 9% down to 3.4% year over year inflation. But what's really interesting and what most people are affected by are three things: food, energy, and shelter, meaning, are your rents going up? Are the costs of buying a house going up? Secondly, when you go to the grocery store, is it more expensive? Are you getting more for the same amount of money, or are you getting less? And then thirdly, when you fill up that gas tank, is it more expensive? because most people, that's where they feel the inflation.
Right.
So the inflation rate could be 50%, but if food and energy and shelter are relatively calm and we've got $2 a gallon milk and $2 a gallon gas, people are perfectly fine with that. So, well, the government is telling us that inflation is coming down, and it is. It is coming down. We're still feeling it at the pump. We're still feeling it when we go pay our rent or our mortgage, and we're still feeling it at the grocery store.
Right, and those are the three areas that are needs. They're not luxuries of any kind. Those are absolute staples that people need in their everyday lives. All right, there are always new markets emerging, David, as well. What are some of the examples and what role will they play in 2024?
Well, I think emerging markets are going to be important in 2024 as things expand. So emerging market countries. So China, believe it or not, is an emerging market country still. Brazil. But the number one emerging market country that we've seen in the past few years is India. India, for the first time, has a middle class. It used to be you were either ultra rich or you were ultra poor. There was no in between. Well, with the middle class comes the emergence of consumerism, like we have here in the United States. So, well, most of the world went through some recessionary pressures through COVID and things like that. India's done very, very well, and I think will continue to do well as they build their economy to more of a westernized economy where consumerism is important.
You touched on this earlier in this conversation, David, but we are an aging population, so I'd imagine healthcare, biotech are all areas to watch for growth in those sectors.
Yeah, healthcare continues to expand. Biotech continues to expand. You're seeing a lot right now. The big buzz in biotech went from the vaccines and everything to do with COVID now to a lot of weight loss drugs and pills and things like that. That's the big buzz in 2023 and 2024. And as we get more chronologically gifted as a population, we need more healthcare. And with more need becomes more advancement in healthcare, better techniques, helping people live longer and more quality life.
All right, we got a minute and I want to get this in. We're in an election year now. What does history tell you, David, that the markets will do in an election year?
History tells us that in an election year, markets usually perform pretty decent. Part of it is because markets don't like when things are up in the air, meaning right now things are up in the air. But as we get closer to the end of the year and we have that election, we've got some guidance for the next 4 years.
Right.
Whether your party won or your person won or it didn't win, we at least know for the next 4 years, this is what we have for the president and guidance for the country. So usually they tend to do well in an election year, but now this year could be a little more choppy, especially with inflation. It's not a typical election year. With inflation kind of rearing its ugly head still, it can be a choppy market.
All right, a little bit of reminder for people that were around at that time of 1980, because inflation was extremely high, interest rates are high and things like that. David Wald, Lux Wealth Advisors, where do we find you? How do we contact you?
You can find us on the web at luxwealth.com or give us a call at 663-8401.
Sounds great. David Wald, appreciate your time. We look forward to our next visit.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.